Sovereign. The word itself is a trick of the tongue. It whispers of autonomy, mastery, control, but the moment the ego hears supreme power, it salivates. Because sovereignty, in the world's language, is always about domination, of others, of circumstance, of one's own story. It says, you can bend reality, as if reality were something external to manipulate. But if reality is mind, and mind is one, then who exactly is bending what? This idea of taking ownership of time, wealth, or choice is the ego's most seductive con. It builds a palace of empowerment within a dream that was never real. It tells the sleeper, you are the master of your fate, while hiding the fact that the dream itself is fate's illusion. The self that seeks sovereignty is the same self that invented limits to overcome. It's the magician who saws a body in half, then takes credit for putting it back together. Books like this always begin with the same assumption: that the world is real, that your life is yours, that your trajectory is something you can control. They call it freedom, but it's just a prettier prison. The idea of being a remarkable outlier still assumes there's a world full of ordinary people to stand apart from. Sovereignty in this sense is just hierarchy disguised as healing. It says, be different, while keeping the same belief in difference intact. But true sovereignty, if the word means anything in truth, is not independence but dependence on the changeless. It's not control, but surrender. It's not bending reality, but ceasing to resist it. Because what you call your life is a script already written in the mind that believes in separation. The dream figure cannot rewrite the dream. The dream figure can only awaken. You can rearrange the furniture on the Titanic, but the ship still sinks. You can optimize the cabin, perfect your posture, memorize the manual for calm breathing as the water rushes in, but the sea doesn't care. The sea represents eternity. The ship is the self-concept. Sovereignty in the dream is pretending the steering wheel matters. The Holy Spirit smiles, not in mockery, but in quiet certainty, because the only real sovereignty is over illusion itself, and that sovereignty belongs not to a person, but to awareness. The ego promises control, but control is the language of fear. It's the desperate attempt to prevent loss in a world built on loss. It's the attempt to regulate chaos while denying its own authorship of chaos. Every time you say, I want to take control of my life, you are secretly saying, I believe my life is out of control and I must fix it. That confession reveals the circular trap. The self that seeks power is the same self that invented weakness. The self that preaches clarity is the same self that feeds on confusion. Sovereignty, then, is not about rewriting the limits of work or wealth. It's about recognizing there are no limits in truth. The body cannot be sovereign because it is a puppet of perception. The mind cannot claim sovereignty while it still believes it is a mind among many. Only the Christ mind is sovereign because it is not divided. It has no opposite. It cannot be free because it was never bound. Every promise of worldly sovereignty is a promise made to the dreamer, not to the awakened mind. Take ownership of your time means keep believing in time. Master your choices means pretend choice exists in separation. Bend reality means stay asleep and think you're lucid. The Course would say, you are not the dreamer of a better dream, you are the dreamer of the dream. Sovereignty in illusion is rebellion against God dressed as self-help. When the ego says own your life, the spirit whispers, you have no life apart from life itself. When the ego says control your trajectory, the spirit says there is nowhere to go. When the ego says find your purpose, the spirit says purpose was never lost. The world's sovereignty is about directing motion. Heaven's sovereignty is about remembering stillness. The real miracle is not mastery, but humility. It is not power over things, but but power through surrender. The moment you stop trying to be sovereign, you remember you already share in the sovereignty of God, not as an individual but as an extension of the whole. True sovereignty cannot be claimed, it can only be remembered, and the remembering happens only when control is relinquished. So the question isn't how to be sovereign in a world designed to distract. The question is, who told you the world was yours to govern? The world isn't disobedient, it's non-existent. The manual for life can only perpetuate the belief that life needs managing. But the Christ needs no management, no manual, no ownership. The Christ simply is, and that, my companion, is the only sovereignty worth knowing.